ॐ दक्षिणस्य समारम्भा शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमा अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ता स्मर्या गुरुपरम्परा श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। परिज्ञानाश्रम श्रीगुरुशङ्कर परिज्ञानाश्रम शङ्कर सद्गुरु केशववामन कृष्णपाण्डुरङ्ग आनन्द परिज्ञान गुरु सद्यो जात शङ्कर सद्गुरु गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। So far, in the third chapter, we saw that Krishna gave details of Karma Yoga. And to make it easier for Arjuna and for all of us to understand Karma Yoga, Krishna also talked about Yajna, Karma Yoga as Yajna, and gave Panchamaha Yajnas as those which can be followed by everyone very easily in one's day-to-day activities. And ultimately what Krishna says here is, even in the third chapter, Karma Yoga is an intermediate step. It is a step towards Chitta Shuddhi, a step towards Jnana Yogyata Prapti, and ultimately it is Karma Yoga which makes Jnana Yoga possible. And once the mumukshu goes through this entire line of sadhana, the steps of sadhana in the form of karma yoga first, then chitta shuddhi, then jnana yoga. With that jnanam, atma jnanam, jnana yoga means atma jnanam. Ultimately, this person gets free and attains what is called as the moksha purushartha, which was his goal. That means he understands that I'm not the anatma body mind sense complex. The jagat is not actually the absolute reality that I was thinking of. I am that Nitya Atma, Shuddha Atma, Akarta, Abhokta Atma. And whatever transaction is taking place between this body mind sense complex and the Jagat is nothing but what is happening between two sets of Anatma. And for such a person who is called as a Jivan Mukta, a Sthita Prajna, a Jnani, whom we saw the Lakshanas of the Sthita Prajna in the second chapter. And such a person really has no further karma as to be done. That is, he does not have any kartavyam that needs to be done. And he is free from all activities. He can do it, he need not do it. But a jnani, a Jivan Mukta, a Sthita Prajna does not give up whatever karma he has to do according to the prarabdha with which his body, mind, sense complex is born. And he remains where he is, continues to transact with the world as before. But whatever he does, whatever action he does, it is done with a kartritva bhava. That means he knows very well that I, the Atma, am not the Karta. I am the Akarta, Abhokta, Atma. So, whatever he does becomes an action of benefit to the entire Jagat. Loka Sangraharte. So, whatever action that is done by this Jivan Mukta, Sthita Prajna, Jnani is for the sake of Loka Sangraha. Loka Sangraha means for the benefit of Jagat. And Krishna gave examples of Kshatriyas, of kings, very, very busy kings, very, very noble kings who are jnanis and at the same time continued to rule their kingdoms, continued to do their karma as kings and did it very well. And he gave the examples of the Purvajas of, Arjuna in the form of Janaka, Janakadayaha, Krishna said, Janaka, Ashwapati, Ajatashatru. All these are the examples we find in our scriptures who were actively involved in their own Varna Ashrama Dharma and they did what they had to, but only as Ishvara Sankalpa and as Loka Sangraharte they did their work. And Krishna gave himself as an example. After all, Krishna is also a Kshatriya and ultimately he says as Bhagavan, as Ishvara, he says, I don't have anything to achieve from any of the three worlds. And I do not have anything anavaptam, that is to be aptavyam. I don't have anything which I don't have, which I have to acquire. Still, then I am doing my duty. Hasn't he done that? He has killed so many, asuras who are more of a nuisance to the society. And when there was a possibility of stopping the war, he even went as an emissary to Duryodhana and tried his best to stop this war, trying to make Duryodhana see some sense in what he was trying to say. And when Duryodhana asked him for his entire army in the war, Krishna gave him all his army. And when Arjuna wanted Krishna to be on his side, he very readily agreed. He said, I will not fight the war, but I'll definitely be your Sarathi and I will lead you. What was the need for Krishna to do all these things? Why did he do it? For Loka Sangraharte, to re-establish Dharma, Dharma Samsthapanarthaya. That is why he did that. And he also said that any person who is in an influential kind of a situation in life, any person who can influence other people, any person who's looked up to as a Sreshta Purusha by the Jagat, by the society, by the contemporary society, such a person needs to be there and do his actions, his karmas for the sake of the Jagat, because Yadyad Acharati Sreshtaha, just as a Sreshta Purusha, a model person behaves or acts, the others also follow. So, hey Arjuna, you are not a jnani yet. Now you have to do your job of fighting this dharma yuddha because you are a Sreshta Purusha in your society and people look up to you for establishment of dharma. So right now, do your job as a karma yogi, and later when you get this jnanam and when you are a mukta, when you are a jivan mukta, then you will continue to do what you have to do as loka sangraha. And in the 24th verse last session, Krishna said that if I don't do my job as a Sreshta, people look up to me, look up to me, Krishna, as a Sreshta Purusha, somebody who can wield some influence in the society. If I don't do anything, if I don't do my job, what will happen? Sankarasya cha kartasyam aham upahanyami imam prajaha. I will be destroying the very society and the people by my inaction or by my wrong action. With this, we stopped last time. And now we will go to the next verses where Krishna wants Arjuna to know that now you are a karma, you are going to do your actions as a karma yogi. There is a person who is a Jivan Mukta, a Vidwan. A Jivan Mukta is also called as a Vidwan, a Dhira, a Sthira Prajna, a Jnani, a Mukta. All these are the names given to a person who has really gone through the entire ladder of the sadhanas, and he is a Mukta, Siddha Mukta Purusha. Now, is there any difference between the actions that are done by a Vidwan, that is a person who is not a Jnani, an Ajnani, like all of us, like Arjuna, etc., and the karmas done by a Jnani? The Jnani also does the karma outside, reacts, interacts with the Jagat. Then what is the difference? Is there any difference? No. The same work may be done by Jnani also, Ajnani also. But the only difference is in the attitude with which a Mukta Purusha or a Jnani does the karma, and the attitude with which a Karmi or a person who is doing karma for the sake of only selfishness. Now, he says the difference between these two in the next few verses. Krishna describes in detail what is the difference between a Jivan Mukta doing his karma for the sake of Lokasangraha and an Ajnani or a person who is still not a Jivan Mukta, not a Mukta Purusha. Such a person, how does he do his work? This is what is going to be talked about. So we'll go to the 25th verse now of the third chapter. सक्ता कर्मण्य विद्वांसः यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत कुर्याद् विद्वांस्तथा सक्तः चिकीर्षुः लोकसंग्रहम्. Now, कर्मणि sakta avidvamsaha. Avidvamsaha means the one who is an Ajnani. He is completely involved with the karma and the karma phala for the sake of personal attainment. So there is always an entanglement with the karma phala. There is an asakti. Asakti in the form of what? A deep entanglement with what I am doing as a kartru. As a kartru, as a karta, he is deeply entangled in the karma and deeply entangled in what the results of this karma are going to be. So this avidvamsaha or the ajnani is always attached to the action and its result. Yatha kurvanti. This is how they do their karma normally in the Jagat. Then, how does a Vidwan do his karma? Kuryat Vidvamsa Tatha Asaktaha. See, we have to break this sandhi very properly. So Kuryat, the Vidvamsa. Kuryat Vidvamsaha. Vidvamsa means what? A Jnani. The person who is a Mukta Purusha. For this person whose Moksha Purushartha goal has been fulfilled by his sadhana of Karma Yoga, Chitta Shuddhi, Jnana Yoga, Moksha. This whole Jnana Sopana has been cleared. For such a person, what is the attitude with which he does the karma? He says, Vidvamsaha tatha, in the same way, asaktaha. Neither is he deeply entangled with the karma as this is my karma, for my sake I am doing it, for my people I am doing it. So the karma is not done with the ahankara or the mamakara. Then how is this karma done? This karma is done as Ishvara Sankalpa. It is Ishvara Sankalpa that through this body, mind, sense complex, this karma has to be done. And it has to be done for the sake of Lokasangraha. Therefore, this jnani is asakta in the action also, in the form of not having ahankara mamakara with the very action or karma itself, and not having karma phala abhisandhi. That means he is not totally involved in the phala also. Let the phala come, good, it's Ishvara's phala. If it doesn't come, no problem, it is Ishvara's will. But then as a instrument, nimitta matra, I am acting as an instrument of Ishvara's will. And this is the attitude of the jnani who does the karma. And ultimately this action becomes what? Chikirshu loka sangraham. This chikirshu means the one who wants to, kartum ichu, chikirshu, the one who wants to do this, whatever he's doing, a jnani, he's interested in doing whatever he's doing only as a loka sangraha for the benefit of Jagat, and he's an instrument in the hands of Ishvara to do the right karma at the right time in the right place. So this is the attitude of the jnani. Now then, if such a jnani is there, a grahastha jnani is there in this, in the community, then what should be his attitude towards those people who are ajnanis? This is very important because a jnani now, he finds that karma does not give him anything. It doesn't matter for me whether I do karma or not. It is not going to make any difference. Why? Because I am the akarta, I am the abhokta, and the karma does not accrue any karma phala to me. Therefore, I don't have anything to do. Whether I do the karma phala, I don't do, I have nothing to achieve out of it. This is the jnani's inner attitude. But then, does he talk about it like that to people who are still ajnanis? No, he doesn't. For him, the karma yoga has served its purpose, and the karma yoga is no longer relevant for a jnani. But for an ajnani mumukshu, the karma phala is still relevant. So, Krishna is warning this jnani that, hey jnani, just because you don't find any relevance of karma yoga in your life now, may you not confuse people who are still ajnanis. Don't cause any kind of a buddhi bheda in them. Don't try to tell them that karma is of no use. Karma doesn't give you moksha. Ultimately, jnanattu eva kaivalyam. All that is fine, but it is not for an ajnani mumukshu. And this is not, see, Shruti does not give uniform advice or uniform instructions to all. Shruti's instructions to a jnani are different. Instructions to an ajnani mumukshu are different. Therefore, what should a jnani do? He should not create any kind of a confusion in the minds of people who are ajnanis and who are still doing karma for the sake of their personal benefits. So in the 36th verse, Krishna says, न बुद्धिभेदं जनयेत् अज्ञानां कर्मसङ्गिनां जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरन्. In that case, what should he do? Now, like it is like saying that, if I'm a high school student, if I tell a nursery child, this nursery is of no use, ultimately you have to get out of it and come to the 10th standard like I am, that is not going to work. For wherever that person is, it is the right place for him to be, and somebody who has crossed it should not create any confusion. So Krishna is telling that a jnani does not and should not create any kind of a confusion in the minds of people who are still attached to the karma. Even if they are doing this karma for the sake of their personal benefit, for the sake of, swartha, for the sake of their own sake, even if they are doing the karma, and it is a sakama karma for their sake, to fulfill their personal requirements, to fulfill their personal ragadveshas, don't create any kind of a confusion. Then what can you do? How can you help them? Joshayet sarva karmani vidvan yukta samachanam. May them do that karma, whatever they are doing. But then may you motivate them to do that karma with the karma yoga attitude. So a jnani should not create any confusion people who are still following the Veda Purva karmas, who are still following karmas for the sake of sakama benefit, for their own personal benefit. But the jnani should actually motivate them, joshayet, make them involve themselves in the same karma with the attitude of karma yoga. And once the person starts doing all the activities with with the attitude of karma yoga, slowly, gradually, the attitude of karma yoga becomes the very nature of a karma yogi. Initially, it may look that it is a very, very, a thing which I am doing, which is very artificial. That's what somebody asked me. Yes, I surrender my karmas to the Lord, but at this time, I feel that it is very artificial. Yes, initially, one it may feel that way, but then over a period of time, when karma yoga becomes a part of the daily routine activity, without one's knowledge, one starts realizing that it is a wonderful aspect of completely surrendering all the karmas, offering all the karmas as an offering to Ishvara. So may the Jnani not confuse an Ajnani karmi, but may the Jnani actually motivate him and encourage him to do the very same karmas nishkamataya, with the attitude of karma yoga. Now, when an Ajnani does the karma, what does he feel that is doing the karma? And when a Jnani is doing the karma, what is it that the Jnani understand as that which he is doing? Now he's going to talk about it in the next verse, in the 27th verse. So what does he say here? प्रकृते क्रियकर्मा प्रियमाणानि गुणैकर्माणि सर्वशः अहङ्कारविमूढात्मा कर्ताहमिति मन्यते. So he says, now how do we understand this? प्रकृतेः गुणैः क्रियमाणानि कर्माणि. Now we have to understand that Prakriti, or Prakriti means what? Prakriti or Maya is the one which is the cause of this entire body, mind, sense complex, the cause of the Jagat. And here, Prakritehe Gunaihi. Gunas means here, gunas have lot of meanings. But what is the meaning of guna? Here, guna means the karyam of Prakriti. Karyam of Prakriti. What is the karyam of Prakriti? Body, mind, sense complex is called as the Prakriti Karyas. And they are also called as the guna. So here, what it means is Prakritehe Gunaihi. Okay? Prakritehe Gunaihi. That is Prakriti's Karyam, which is the body, mind, sense complex. It is the Prakriti or the Karana, Sharira or the Karana Prapancha as Prakriti, which gives rise to this Sthula Sukshma Sharira. We have already seen that in the second chapter, that the Prakriti or the Karana Shariram is the bija or the seed for Sukshma Sharira and Sthula Sharira to be manifest. Now, what he says is the gunas or the body, mind, sense complex, which is also called as Karya, Karana, Sanghata. Karya means the body, Karana means the mind and the sense organs. So the body, mind, sense organs, which are the products of Prakriti, are the ones which are really doing the karma. Prakritehe gunaihi karmani kriyamanani. All the karmas are done by whom? Prakriti's products. That is body, mind, sense complex, which are called as Karya, Karana, Sanghata, which is also called as the Gunaha. Gunaha. Guna means body, mind, sense complex. It is what is doing the action. I, the Atma, I am not doing any action. Now let us understand it. Now for an action to be done, first, the mind has to do the sankalpa for an action, right? The mind has to decide, the mind has to have a sankalpa that maybe I should do this, maybe I should not do this, maybe I should avoid this, whatever it is. The mind has to have an idea about what has to be done. So it is manasa sankalpya. Manasa sankalpya. The mind has to make the sankalpa. And this mind sankalpa has to be given by the buddhi. It has to be approved by the buddhi. Manasa sankalpya, buddhya nishchitya. Any action happens that way. Manasa sankalpya, buddhya nishchitya. The mind has done the sankalpa, the buddhi has done the nishchaya. And then what happens? Gunaihi, or what you call as the karya karana sangataihi kriyamanani karmani. Do you understand? The mind decides, or sankalpa is done, thinks about it, plans it, the buddhi approves it, and the body mind sense complex continue to do the job. Therefore, what is it that is from the planning stage up till the execution of karma? Who is doing it? It is the body mind sense complex. Where is the role for Atma here? There is no role for me, the Atma. Therefore, I, the Atma, is a Sakshi and observer of all the karmas that are done by the Prakriti's products, which is nothing but the body, mind, sense complex. And a jnani knows that I, the Atma, am not the doer. It is the body, mind, sense complex blessed by me as a Sakshi interacts, responds, does vyavahara with the Jagat outside. Therefore, I am not the doer. The Anatma body mind sense complex interacts or transacts with the Anatma Jagat. What about an Ajnani? An Ajnani is Ahankara Vimudhatma. Okay, Ahankara Vimudhatma Kartaham iti manyate. Who is an Ajnani? He is based in Ahankara as I am the Karta. I am doing this job for the sake of my people, for the sake of my happiness. My body is doing this. I have thought over it. I have made this sankalpa. I have made this resolution. My buddhi says that I should do it, and my body, mind, sense complex is doing it. So, an ajnani, the same action done by an ajnani, how is it done? Ahankara vimudhatma. An ajnani is an ahankara vimudha atma. Confused that I, the ahankara, confused that I am the doer. The person who is confused that I, the Atma, is doer, he thinks that I, the Atma, is the doer. He is the Vimuda. Ahankarena Vimudha Atma Aham Karta iti manyate. Whereas a Jnani understands that Aham Atma Akarta Abhokta, it is only Prakritehe Gunaihi Karmani Kriyamanani when Sarvashaha always. This is the difference between the what is done by the jnani and what is done by the ajnani. The same action, the jnani knows I am not the doer. Therefore, I am not the experiencer of the phala. Whereas ahankara vimudhatma ajnani, I am the thinker, I am the doer, I am the decider. This body mind sense complex, he doesn't think I am doing everything because he has a lot of abhimana as I in the body mind sense complex. For an Ajnani, I am the body, I am the mind, I am the sense complex. Whereas for a Jnani, I am not the body mind sense complex. Actions happen at the level of the body mind sense complex. This is the difference between how a Jnani does his action and how an Ajnani does the action. And the same thing is explained in the next verse also very beautifully. He says, तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो गुणकर्म विभागयोः गुणागुणेषु वर्तन्ते इति मत्वा न सज्जते. Now, this person, a jnani, is a tattvavit. See, tattvavit means the one who knows the tattva or the central or that which is the ultimate truth of something is called tattva. So, a jnani is called a tattvavit because he knows the atma, which is the ultimate tattva of everything. But here, the tattvavit for a jnani, is used in a different way. Now, what Krishna says is, Tattvavittu, he Mahabaho, he Arjuna, on the contrary to the previous verse, this Tattvavit or this Jnani understands the Tattva, the truth of both the Guna and Karma. So, Gunasya Tattvam Janati. कर्मस्य तत्त्वं जानाति, गुणविभागस्य तत्त्वं जानाति, कर्मविभागस्य तत्त्वम् अपि जानाति. He is the knower of the truth of karma. He is the knower of the truth of the body mind sense complex guna also. So here Tattvavit, he is already a jnani, so he is a Tattvavit. But here in this specifically Krishna says, hey Mahabaho, this jnani understands the tattva of guna. Gunavibhagayoho tattva. That means what? Guna means what? That body mind sense complex is the anatma. I am the atma. All the action happens at the level of the body mind sense complex. I am only a sakshi to that action. I, the atma, is neither karta nor bhokta. So it is the gunas, the prakriti vikaras, the body mind sense complex, which is the locus or the center of action. So guna vibhagayoho tattvam janati iti tattvavit. Then karma vibhagayoho api. Karma vibhaga. What is that karma vibhaga? Where is the karma happening? Okay, I am not the body mind sense complex. I am the Sakshi Chaitanya Atma is the guna vibhaga. The action is happening in the body mind sense complex, not happening in me, the Atma, is karma vibhaga tattva knowledge. So for such a person, a jnani has the knowledge of the truth of both the guna and the karma. For such a person, what is an action? Guna guneshu vartante. For such a person, the sense organs, the gunaha, prakriti vikaraha, are interacting with the other gunas, other prakriti vikaras of the jagat outside. Gunaha guneshu vartante. Iti matva na sajjate. Knowing this, he doesn't get attached to the karma or to the karma phala as this is my karma, this is my job, this is the result I will get. So he does not na sajjate, does not get involved in the karma with ahankara mamakara, does not have any kind of an involvement with the karma phala. Whatever karma phala comes, he accepts it as a reaction or as a response to the karma done by the body, mind and sense complex. So the tattva vittu he mahabhavo, tu means in contrast. He mahabhaho tattva vittu tu, this tattva vit in contrast to the previous verse ahankara vimudatma, he knows the truth of karma. He knows the secret or he knows the tattvam of the doer also. The tattvam of guna, the tattvam of karma is known by him. So he is a tattvavit. And such a person knows that I am not the doer. In the next chapter, it comes in the next few chapters, in the 5th chapter, aham na kinchit karomi. Indriyani indriyartheshu vartante aham na kinchit karomi. I, the Atma, never ever is the doer at all. Guna guneshu vartante iti matva na sajjate. Then what happens to the next person? The person, I mean the other person. Krishna is now going from a jnani to an ajnani. Okay. Now in an ajnani. What is happening here? In the next verse 29. Prakriter guna sammudhaha sajjante guna karmasu tana kritsna vido mandan kritsna vinna vichalayet. So now he says, an ajnani, an ahankara vimuda atma, prakrite guna sammudhaha. They are confused about the prakriti and the gunas. They do not see the prakriti's gunas or prakriti's karyas or the effects of prakriti as gunas. There is confusion. They don't know what is Prakriti. They don't know what are the end products of Prakriti. They do not know that the body, mind, sense complex is Anatma, which is the product of Prakriti. They do not know that. And they think that I am that. And for such samuda, for such people who are confused with guna and karma, what happens? Sajjante guna karmasu. Sajjante means they get completely involved. They get bound by the guna and the karma. That is, the karma done by the body, mind, sense complex is taken as my karma. It is taken as aham karomi iti. It is taken as, and this is my action. Mama karyam. This is, it is my karyam. So I have done it. So that is how he thinks. Whereas tan akritsna vido mandan. May you understand that these people are still mandas. Mandas means it is not a derogatory comment. Manda means, he's still ignorant. This person who still gives reality to the body, mind, sense complex and the Prakriti, confused about what am I? Am I Prakriti or am I the Purusha? Am I the consciousness or am I the matter? Prakriti is matter, and the body, mind, sense complex is nothing but the product of matter. And I, the Atma, the pure consciousness, Jnana Swarupa Atma, I am not at all involved either in the Prakriti's products, the body, mind, sense complex, nor the action done by them. This an Ajnani does not understand. Therefore, he is ignorant, and therefore, such people are called Mandan. Such people, what can you do? He's telling the Jnani, Kritsnavit. A Jnani is a Kritsnavit, the one who has done whatever has to be done, Kritsnavit. And the one who understand what is done, what is not done, where the action is happening. Such a person, Kritsnavit, na vichalayet, may a Jnani not confuse an akritsnavit Prakrite guna samudha ahankara vimudatma. May you not confuse them that karma is of no use. Make them do karma. Let them follow the Veda Purva. Let them do bhajan. Let them do nama sankirtan. Let them do puja. Let them do everything. But may you motivate them to do all that karma as karma yoga. May you make a karmi, transform a karmi into a karma yogi. That is actually the duty of a jnani, but not to confuse them. Now in the 30th verse, Krishna is going to summarize, or he's going to sum up. He sums up the entire karma yoga which he has started, right? A few verses in the second chapter, and up till now in the third chapter, he's going to sum up karma yoga. And what does he say? Mai sarvani karmani sanyasyaadhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvaraha. So, hey Arjuna, now I will tell you what is actually the ultimate summary of what I have been telling you all this time. So he says, Adhyatma Chetasa. First, you look at that word, the last word in the first line. Adhyatma Chetasa means Viveka Buddhya. May you have the Viveka Buddhi. With the Viveka Buddhi, understanding whatever I have told you all this time, Mai, okay, Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya. May you offer, may you give up. Sanyasya means give up. Give up means what? Offer. May you offer with viveka, not with aviveka. Oh, I offered everything to Bhagwan. I don't know what he's going to do. No, that should not be. Viveka buddhya, with, this trust, understanding that I, your Guru Krishna, is telling you about this karma yoga for your good, for your ultimate shreyas. Right now, you are not fit for shreyas without karma yoga. So, hey Arjuna, have this viveka buddhi to see the truth of what I am telling you. And mai sarvani karmani sanyasya, offering all the karmas that you do. Right now, the karma that you have to do what? fighting this war, because it is your swadharma, it is your swakarma. And if you don't want to get caught by the action of the war, nor by the karma phala, then the only way you can do it is understand what I am telling you, offer this your present karma, which you call as a ghora karma, which you already have told me, offer it to me. And then what will be your attitude when you do this offering of the karma, that yuddha you are going to fight to me? What will you become? Nirashir bhutva, nirmamo bhutva, vigata jvarah bhutva yudhyasva. The second line. So, may you become nirashi. Nirashi means what? May you have the samatvam, equanimity, not to expect means what? Not to have karma phala abhisandhi. Okay? I am also expecting this war should re-establish dharma. You're also expecting this war to re-establish dharma and you get back your rightful kingdom. But may you not have undue entanglement with the result of this war. Nirashir bhutva. You have to put this bhutva means by being nirashi. Being nirashi, that means nirashi means here nirasha, you should not take it as desperate. No, nirashi bhutva. That means may you not be unduly attached to the karma phala. May you not have karma phala abhisandhi. Nirmamo bhutva. May you have the humility that this is not my action. This is the action that has to be done by this body, mind, sense complex as an Ishvara Sankalpa, and I offer this action to you. Nirmamo Bhutva, it is not my action. Hey Ishvara, this is for you. I'm offering this. Nirmamo Bhutva, Vigata Jvaraha Bhutva. Arjuna, you are having this Vishada, which is a feverish mind that you are having now. Your body, your mind are absolutely feverish. You know, they are completely excited and they are really not in their own vasha. You know, that feverish kind of a body and mind, that the particular situation you are facing now. He said, you know, my Gandiva is just slipping away from my hands. I am shaking, I am trembling, I am not able to think. This is the jvara, vigata jvaraha. May you be without this kind of physical and mental jvara and yudhyasva. So your yuddha, the karma that you're doing is going to be a perfect karma because you are not disturbed in the body or the mind. You have no entanglement with either the karma or the results of the karma, and you have offered this entire karma and karma phala to me. Hey Arjuna, I will take care of whatever has to happen. Vigata jvaraha, may you do your duty, may you fight. Yudhyasva. Right now, this is your karma. It is your swakarma. It is your swadharma. So may you go ahead and do it. And in the next verse, he says, Ye me matamidam nityam अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवाः श्रद्धावन्तो न सूयन्तः मुच्यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मभिः. So, after having summed up the Karma Yoga, he says that Ye idam matam me. This is my mata. Now we have to understand Krishna is not giving his individual opinion. Me matam, he is talking here as Ishvara. Krishna is talking as Bhagavan. So this is my mata when he says this is Ishvara's mata. Mata means what? Contention. This is what Ishvara I think and this is my view. He says not as Mr. Krishna. This is Ishvara's view. Ye me matam idam nityam anutishtanti manavaha. Manavaha anutishtanti nityam. This matam, that is doing everything that you do as karma yoga, manavaha, people, you know, jivas, manushas, anutishtanti, those who follow this nityam, every day, in all their actions, when they follow this karma yoga. And how? Shraddhavantaha. With Shraddha. Shraddha, because Bhagavan is the pramanam. What Bhagavan Krishna is saying is a very, very valid proof. So, Shraddhavantaha. Shraddha in what I am saying. Anasuyantaha. Anasuyantaha means the ones who do not find fault with what I am saying. Asuya means what? Paraguneshu dosha darshanam. Finding fault in everything about what is happening outside, what somebody else is doing. This is called as asuya. Anasuya means the one who does not find any kind of a, nothing to criticize, nothing to find fault. A person who does not find fault with what I am saying, my matam, and a person who follows my matam with Shraddha in such a way that he converts every action of his every day into a karma yoga, muchyante karma bihi. They will be freed from the bondage of karma. How? Ultimately by going to Jnana Yoga and ultimately becoming Jivan Muktas or Sthita Prajnas. They are completely free from the karma and their results. So, Karma Yogi also ultimately gets totally freed from all his karma and karma phalas. What about the other people then? The opposite people. As I said, Krishna is giving the contrast here. A person, may be a mumukshu, but at the same time he does not have the viveka buddhi of following what Bhagwan, what Ishvara is saying, and he constantly finds faults with what Krishna is saying or Bhagwan is saying or what the Vedas are saying, and a person who's very, very, very critical of everything, all the time arguing. The so called, we have now buddhijeevis or rationalists, they cannot take anything when it comes to, oh, God has said this, how can we take it? Where have we seen God? No, it is not like that. So he says, the one who is ever critical, the one who has no shraddha in what I'm saying, the one who is always finding fault with what is being said here about Karma Yoga, he is a Moodha. He says in the 32nd verse, he says, Ye tve tadabhyasuyantaha nanutishtanti me matam sarvajnana vimudhanstan viddhi nashtana chetasaha. Arjuna, those who are abhyasuyantaha, who are always trying to criticize this karma yoga and criticize people who are following this karma yoga, na anutishtanti me matam, those who don't follow my mata or my instruction of karma yoga, and those who are always having asuya in my matam, such people are who? Sarva vijnana vimudhan stan. They are confused with regarding to all kinds of knowledge because they don't have the capacity to trust, they don't have the capacity not to see faults in something, especially when it comes from a source like Bhagavan, when it comes from a source like Vedas. Such a person does not understand, or such a person is confused. Vimudhantan, sarvajnana vimudhantan. They are confused with regarding to all kinds of knowledge. And vidhi nashtan achetasaha. May you understand that they are as if lost because they themselves don't know anything. They are not having shraddha, anasuya in whatever is being talked about. Therefore, they are, may you understand them to be nashtan. Nashtan means not destroyed. Nashtan means they are lost. They have lost this lifetime's opportunity to do karma yoga and to go up the ladder of sadhana and get into, get into jnana yoga and be ever free. And in the 33rd verse, then, if, you know, Krishna wants to now answer a possible question by Arjuna. Arjuna has not asked this question, but a possible question can be asked by Arjuna saying that if what you are saying is the truth, and when you are saying that those who follow my matam, those who are anasuyantaha, and those who are shraddhavantaha, and those who don't have abhyasuyanta means those who don't find fault critical, such people reach that shreyas. When you are saying that, why is it that some people are not able to see this? Why is it that some people are not following this? What is the reason for that? For expecting this question, Krishna wants to say here that, look, Arjuna, all of us have got what is called as a Prakriti. We have our own Prakriti, and that Prakriti has given rise to certain vasanas or impressions in our minds. And it is that Prakriti, my nature, my Svabhava, with whatever, what you call as the samskaras, what you call as the vasanas that are there in my mind because of my Svabhava. Such a Svabhava always makes me to go on to a certain karma. Therefore, if people are not really following what I'm saying, it is because of their own prakriti. And even in a jnani, the prakriti may be there, which is actually pushing a person to act in a certain manner. But then one can ask, if that is so, then where is the free will now? That is what is going to be answered in the next two verses, which are very, very important verses here. So Krishna says here that if you ask me why all people are not following it, it is because each one's prakriti, each one's svabhava differs. And depending on that svabhava, depending on the vasanas or the impressions or the samskaras that have been there in the deep layers of one's mind over lifetimes of doing karma, it is these samskaras, it is these vasanas which are actually propelling a person for a certain kind of an action. So in the 33rd verse he says, Sadrisham cheshtate swasyaha prakriterjnanavanapi prakritim yanti bhutani nigrahah kim karishyati. Now he says, a jnanavan api, even a jnanavan or an ajnanihi, okay, swasyaha prakritehe sadrishyam cheshtate. Swasyaha, by his own prakriti, by his own svabhava, according to that sadrisham, prakritehe sadrisham, swasyaha prakritehe sadrisham cheshtate. Swasyaha means by his individual svabhava or prakriti or vasanas, following that, he cheshtate, he gets into any action. And what is it? The prakriti may be, the pravritti of this prakriti may be satvaguna pravritti, rajoguna pravritti, or tamoguna pravritti. Again, it is all the prakriti and its, vasanas which are propelling a person into action. So, prakritim yanti bhutani. This prakriti or swabhava literally drives a person towards taking up certain decisions, taking up most of the decisions and actions. And nigraha kim karishyati. There is no question of doing any nigraha here. The prakriti automatically, stimulates those vasanas. And in a certain given situation, out of my svabhava, out of my prakriti, out of my vasanas, I am propelled into an action. And at that stage, I cannot control the prakriti because it is something beyond my control. Does it mean then that there is no free will at all? No, we can't say. Though the prakriti is pushing me into an action, at the time of executing the action, I have all the free will. Now we have to remember the 62nd verse of the second chapter. Okay, what is that? Dhyayate vishayan pumsaha sangah teshu upajayate sangat sanjayate kama kamat krodho bijayate krodat bhavati sammohah sammohat smriti vibhramaha smriti bhramshat buddhinashah buddhinashat pranashati. We saw that whole cycle of the downfall, like a ball falling down the staircase, correct? Now, the first thought of a raga or the first thought of a desire is not in my control. It happens according to one's prakriti and one's vasanas. Okay? Jayato dhyayato vishayan. Dhyanam of a vishaya, it doesn't ask my permission. It just comes because of my prakriti and my vasana. then where do I have the control? I have to stop this thought going over this again and again, getting sanga to that particular thought. Sanga. Sangat sanjayate kama. Dhyanam will happen. Dhyayato visayan vishan pumsaha. But I keep on thinking about it again and again. Sangaha teshu upajayate. So at the level of the sanga, I can completely nip that particular chain of actions in the bud. If not, even at the level of the karma, execution of the karma, I have the free will to think, yes, I want to do this. This is the action I want to do. Is it right action? Should I do it? Should I not do it? So even there also, I have the capacity to stop executing the action. So what Krishna says in the next verse is that though the Prakriti helplessly pushes a person towards a particular action because of the svabhava or the vasanas, still then it is the ragadveshas which control the execution of the action. And Krishna says, at the level of the Prakriti, we cannot do anything. But at the level of the Ragadvesha, I need not come under the effect, under the spell of Ragadveshas. And there my free will can be used to stop the action from being a sakama karma, where I can direct that action to become a karma yoga. So in the 34th verse he says, Indriyasyendriyasyarthe ragadveshau vyavasthitau tayornavashamagachet tavyasya paripantino. What is it that really ultimately, after the Prakriti has started the thing, it has started the possibility of action, ultimately it is the Raga Dveshas which take over from the Prakriti and make a person to take up and complete that action. So all the indriyas for their respective indriya arthas, indriyasya arthe, for every indriyasya means for every indriya there is a raga dvesha towards its respective sense object, and in that particular raga dvesha at that particular time, Tayoho, Ragadveshau, Vyavasthitau. Ragadveshas are there situated. Tayorna Vashamagachet. May you not come under the spell of Ragadveshas. Why? Those Ragadveshas, Tau hi asya paripanthino. So we have to understand that Swabhava stimulates a thought stimulates a word and action. Prakriti stimulates the thought, dhyayato, vishayan. From there, sangaha, kama, krodaha, kama, then kama, if it doesn't get fulfilled, krodaha. So the entire chain of actions is that the Prakriti's first thought is not under my control when it appears. I cannot control it. But the ragadveshas which arise out of that and push me into action, there I can definitely act by not coming under the spell of ragadveshas. And this can happen only when I dedicate all my actions, offer all my actions to Ishvara. Otherwise, these ragadveshas can act as paripanthino. They can act like dacoits on a highway who can just completely rob you. These ragadveshas can rob you of your discrimination. Therefore, may you not get under the spell of ragadveshas. Prakriti and its actions are uncontrollable, but ragadveshas are in our hands so that we don't come under the spell of ragadveshas. There one has to use one's discrimination and convert an action into karma yoga, a karma into karma yoga. So with this, we'll complete today's session. नन्दन्तु साधका सर्वे विनश्यन्तु विदूषकाः अवस्था शाम्भवी मेस्तु प्रसन्नोऽस्तु गुरुः सदा सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखमाप्नुयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।